my YouTube channel. Now, the great separation is starting to begin. Okay, we've been connected to the Democratic Party as a people, as an ethnicity, but we never existed here in this nation as a race. And I'm going to be answering questions. We're going to talk about it today because I've been in the comments and I went back and watched some of the prior videos of prior lives, and sometimes the chat get out of control and I can't respond to most of the things that's in the chat, but a few people, have questions about the hat. Okay, make African American black again is because when African American was black and there was no African American, we were a race people. That's when America was great. So when the president-elect Donald Trump says, make America great again, and you have great again movement, the only way we can make America great again is if we make African American black again, because when African Americans was a black group of people, a sovereign group of people, the United States of America was great. And we all know that our ancestors built this nation on free labor. And time to tap into, what's rightfully ours, and that's the Freedmen's Bank. So today, I got some energy because the powers and principalities, evildoers and husses, they're not in power anymore, but some way they're still maneuvering and doing what they do. So we got to fight the forces that we don't see. We got to stay on the defense and ensure that we do not fall for the okie doke and get hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray once in our lifetime. And we all know that the play was in 1964 that the Democratic Party, pretty much signed a death certificate, but it pretty much was a delayed situation, but not denied. Dr. King and our fearless leaders and our African-American heroes and, things of that nature, they fought their lives for inclusion. They fought their lives to help the race grow, but somehow, some way, partnering up with the Democratic Party was the catalyst that literally destroyed the black culture, destroyed the black family, destroyed the black communities. And now we survived and dodged the bullet. And here in 2024, it's time to basically do our work over and start anew as a sovereign, independent group of people. When I say a sovereign, independent group of people, the Trump administration, have a question. Good morning to you. The Trump administration, a lot of people saying Trump saved America. Okay. And let's debate that fact today. If you are on the opposition side, go ahead and put it in the comments. Okay. If you are on the side of history and believe that Trump did save America, let's go ahead and let's have this conversation and talk about it. Because as a freedman, as a freed black man here in the nation, in the United States of America, an opportunity to fix the rights and to fix the wrongs of the past. Okay. We're going to make sure it happens. And I got somebody in the chat. Trump's going to bring back Greenwood. He already bringing it back spiritually because we are living our lives doing what we need to do. OK, it is what it is. Is that on your cap? Make African American black again, because when African Americans were black people here in the United States, America was great. So the only way we can make America great again, or they can make America great again, is that we become a sovereign group of people that's a asset to this country and not a liability. So it is what it is. So now that the Democratic Party has had, has died. OK, and the funeral will be eulogized on January the 20th. The black rating itself from the Democratic Party, because we have all the data to suggest that thing in existence that the black race associated itself with is winning. Okay, they lost the election. From a monetary perspective, from an investment perspective, the Women's Live movement, Planned Parenthood, the ACLU, the Southern Christian Leadership, NAACP, all of these organizations came into fruition off the blood, sweat, tears off a sovereign group of people who was actually stolen from their land and dwell in this here America. So now that we got the data, we're making an educated decision to be totally sovereign, totally independent, and totally that will be basically will prosper as a group of people. So our birth certificate, pretty much we've been rebirthed. So this is the great separation. So when we go into the history books, The history books are going to show that in the 2024 election, that 13.6 registered Democrats decided not to support the Democratic Party. Okay, so that's the one of the strongest coalition in American history. And now we got to keep it, meaning we're not going to join the Republican Party, but we will directly with the Trump administration to carve out our equity and to make sure that we work for the American people. And our job is basically going to get the president to put into fruition his campaign promises, which is no tax on tips, no tax on over, no tax on Social Security. But we're also going to be making sure and lobbying the Trump administration to see if we actually do the unthinkable, and that's to get the sitting president to sign the constitutional amendment. Okay, and that's to pretty much to take the criminalization clause off of the Constitution, which will end slavery in America, which will open up the Freedmen's Bank bureau money for distribution to the transatlantic slave trade and the descendants of. So I got somebody, let me see here, got Harris. Let me see here. I think that's a joke. What up, B, man? You know, Harris lost the campaign, but listen, we dodged the okay, we dodged the bullet, because I want somebody in the chat to basically tell me when the Democrats talk about, you know, we're not going back, we're turning the page. What was the purpose? What was the intent? And where were they headed? Okay, because last time that I checked, you know, when they turned the page and they lost it and it went back to the front of the book, and now we're back in the garden. Okay, it's Adam and Eve, male, female. So now it's time to get back to business. It's time to what we couldn't do, what our ancestors, as depicted on my screen behind me, couldn't do. Okay, because at the end of the day, the Democratic Party sacrificed the black race and washed us out and created an ethnicity, invested in the woman, and basically got her to basically turn our sons, you know, into them. Okay, because when she psychologically lost the protection of her black husband, and she was pretty much frozen with no protection. So she pretty much raised her male boys like her. And now we're back to save the day. In my generation, you know, we have to repent to God, and we have to get right back in, because we sat back and we allowed this to happen under our watch. We allowed our grandparents and grandmothers to pretty much make decisions when they were pretty much, you know, are the individuals that pretty much was sacrificed. We sat back on the sidelines and watched them turn our boys into girls, watched them turn our girls into boys, watched them turn our kids into pronouns and all of these things. And we sat back, and then we sat back and watched the Congressional Black Caucus and the NAACP. We just thought and assumed that we was in good hands. And now the data's out. So now from a grassroots perspective, we got to step our game up. And we got to do what we got to do to basically make sure that this country become the greatest country ever to exist. So when I say the great separation, so now that the black race is identifying itself with the race, because our race is our grace, and we are standing in solidarity as a sovereign group of people, moral, you know, man, woman, and child, and understanding what the process is, because every race or ethnicity or creed that's in existence up until this point have been championed but the black race. Somehow we went from saying it loud, we was black and we were proud, to all of a sudden, you know, they invested in Jesse Jackson and invested in a human, which is flesh and blood. And he went out and told us, I am somebody. Okay, we're more than just somebody. We're the greatest creation ever created, because all creation and all humanity came through us. Okay. And I'm saying the Homo sapiens. I'm not talking about Neanderthals. I'm not talking about the animalistics and all of that. I'm talking about human beings, the Homo sapien. Okay. And Dr. Leakey found the oldest fossils, and you could just get mad at anthropology because they said, you know, all humanity was created on the continent of Africa. Even when they talk about the origin of the greatest alpha male Jew Israelite, Jesus, pretty much they said his skin was like bronze, as if being burnt in a furnace, and he had hair like wolf, you know, so he pretty much was super ultra chocolate black with dreadlocks. Okay, so we're not going to get into all of that, but I just want to have a conversation. Okay, anything that you want to know about the path moving forward, about separation, questions about Project 2025 or anything like that, let's go ahead and chop it up today, because I'm pretty much setting the platform up, to be taken to a whole nother level. Okay, to have a pretty much a network, to have something special for us by us, so we won't be programmed the mainstream media, which is pretty much owned and operated, by adversarial individuals. Okay, because somehow, some way they convince the so-called African American. I'm gonna say that because you can't be a black person or blood washed believer and associate yourself with an ethnicity. Okay, I know African Americans. I know an African that migrated to the United States through the southern border over 12 months ago. That person is African American. I trace my history, and most of us here in America trace our ancestry back to Jamestown, Virginia, the year 1619, when they first started documenting the transatlantic slave here in these United States. It is what it is. So, and when I say skin color, it is, stop focusing on skin color. Listen, the reason I have to focus on skin color, okay, because I walk in the realm of a melanated human being my whole entire lifetime. The only people out focusing on skin color is because they focused on their sexual orientation, whether they're being queer, homosexual, or a woman. Okay, because we supposed to focus on that, because this is how we fix America. How we become one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, because we're tricked and hoodwinked by the Democratic Party to focus on everything but race, when race matters. Okay, race matters. So now, as a black man who's fighting for the equity in his community, just like the Asian, just like the Chinese, Japanese, just like the community, the white community, the Latinos, they fight for their communities and they monetize it. Okay, the black race, the only race that allow outsiders, individuals who associate themselves with their sexual orientation or their feminism or whatever you want to call it, so they can actually, have, some type of inclusion or the talking point. So we did that up until this point. So now the focus is on race, because for America to be MAGA, to make America great again, we got to make African American black again, because when we were black, we had our own communities. We was recycling our own black dollars. We had our own grocery stores. We had our own banking system. We had a whole lot of things. Okay. So now we got to literally get it back. And then I got Kay telling me what to focus on morality. Actually. So this is why our moral compass is telling us to get back to the race, because being associated with an ethnicity is the reason why our cities, our barrios and communities and hoods are so desolate, because there's no pride in being an African American, because that's just an ethnicity. When we was black, we was standing strong and proud. Okay, we was saying it loud, we was black and we was proud. We even controlled our own making music, soul music. But somehow, some way, they changed our, race, our color into an ethnicity. And then this is what you have now. No pride in being black, no in having a, black community, black banking, black business, none of that. So what I'm saying is, let's not fall for the okie doke, because finally that we dodged the bullet with the Harris campaign, we can have a conversation about what really happened. Okay, my birth certificate says Negro. Okay, and that's negro transferred to Espanol, and that means black. Okay, in 1964, when Lyndon B became president of the United States, he needed to get reelected. So he said, go ahead and summon the Negro leaders, which was the civil rights leaders, the black leaders, the Dr. Kings, okay, the Black Panthers, okay, the Nation of Islam. All of these individuals were rocking with our people. But Lyndon B. Johnson did it with a swipe of a pen in the civil rights movement. And what he did was he destroyed our culture, destroyed our race. And right now, this is why the Democratic lost the way that it did, the popular vote, the Electoral College, and we will be watching their funeral, and they will be eulogized on January of 2024. It is what it is. So now pray for us. Don't be a hater, congratulate, because we're envious Jewish community. We're envious to the little Tokyo, to little Japan, to little Saigon, to little Armenia. We're envious to all of these cultures and creed because somehow, some way we have zero pride because they've taken what the essence of who we are. And the essence of who we are is you looking at this melanated black man right here. So when you say don't focus on race, that's exactly what the racist white female said with the women's live movement who are married to white men. Don't focus on race. It's the same thing the white gay man said. Don't focus on your race. Okay, focus on your sexual orientation, the LGBTQ community. Okay, the same thing. And we got played. So now we're back to black. When you talk about black, you're talking about the black nuclear family. You're talking about black love. You're talking about black power. Okay, because black is a beautiful thing. And I created an acronym for black, which is a term for endearment, which is black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, kinsman. It is what it is. So when individuals tell what people talk about, telling a human being what to do, see, that's white supremacy. That's control. Okay, I'm not thinking like the Nation of Islam. Those my brothers. I'm, thinking like the Nation of Islam. I'm thinking like God, because the black man is the only individual that's closely connected to the Most High. So when you talk about morals, you're 100% right. But there's no other group of people that can associate themselves with the tribe of Judah, the children of Abraham. Okay, because right now we basically have elapsed or passed the biblical prophecy talking about a group of people, because in the book of Genesis, it says the children of Abraham will be stolen from their land. Okay, what group of people, what race of people in the world were stolen from their land in modern history? The African, okay, the black man. It says they will be stolen from their land. They'll dwell in a foreign land and be casted as slaves and do oppressed. Which race of people in the United States were documented as legalized slavery here in the United States? I'll wait. You see what I'm saying? Will be stolen from their land, dwell in a foreign America, will be casted as slaves and duly oppressed for 400 years. And it's after that, God, will punish the oppressors. So now that the 400-year biblical prophecy on a 360-day calendar has expired on August 20th of the year 2024. So now it's time for us to separate ourselves from the oppressor, because it didn't say if, it says when God punished the oppressors. So now that we're disassociating ourselves with the Democratic Party, now it's time for the Democratic Party to pay up. Party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow. It's time to expose them for who they are, because the black race will never associate with a party ever again. But we will work as an asset and as liabilities. It is what it is. And I got K again, or a man or a woman, what the Native Americans. See, the natives and the Native Americans, they have special protective rights here in America. They have reservations. If a Native American get caught in a social services system, it's a whole different set of rules. Okay, they got North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, parts of Arizona. They got us due. So we're not talking about Native Americans. See, this is the entity, because the devil does not want the black race to get what is done. But God is undefeated. Sometime you're too early, sometime you're too late, but we're right on time. So this is our moment in history. So don't sit back and don't sit and cry. Okay, just congratulate, because we black people, we love everybody. So if we can get our act together and get our communities intact, the world is going to benefit from it. Okay. Yes, after being genocide, but they're just due. So it's time for us to get our just due after our genocide came in slavery, which came in the mutilization in terms of Planned Parenthood killing our babies. OK, and so now it's time for us to do after slavery. OK, and if you did not know, there's still a slavery and a criminalization clause masked as a slavery clause in the Constitution. So it's time for us to get our just due now. This is our moment in time. This is why I'm doing this today because I have to motivate and encourage God's people to stand up against the Democrats, against every entity that want us to focus on everything but the race, against the poor whites, against the female, against the gays, against the lesbians and all of that, because we as a people, it's time for us to get it right. Just like Saved America. Okay. Associating ourselves with our race will save America. And it is what it is. It is what it is. So I'm thinking on a whole entirely different level, because there's an entire people that's been waiting on the sidelines to get to that next level since, our history ever even started. It goes back to biblical days. This is our moment in time. So it's not even, like I said, it's not about the skin color. It's about, the social and the economic. It's about our communities. Because when I look up the worst cities in America, the top 20 worst cities in America, 18 of the 20 are Democratic ran cities with black mayors or African-American mayors in municipal and city. That hurts my heart, because it's by design. Because if you pride in your culture and pride in your community, you will work to make your community thrive. But when you're dealing in a state of African American, they take everything outside of, who you are. They'll invest in a gay man. OK, he's not black, he's gay. They'll invest in a woman. She's not black, she's a woman. OK, and then she will work hard and do what her oppressor would do. And even worse, this is why they put Kamala Harris as the presidential candidate. This is why they got Letitia James, the district attorney in New York. This is why they got Fonnie Willis, the Fulton County DA, who just lost the biggest case in the history of the state of Georgia, trying to prosecute some young kids and some rappers on some RICO charges because of their rap lyrics. Think about that. It is what it is, because they take on the minds of their oppressors. And when I really think about this, when they take on the minds of their oppressors, I go back to Memphis with Tyree Nichols. You have black police officers associated with fraternities that pretty much beat Tyree Nichols to death. And it was a time where only the KKK or white supremacists or white racists would do things like that. But now you got black people doing the same thing. This is why we have to disassociate ourselves with the Democratic Party. This is why we have to associate ourselves with the race, because with our race, we have to put on a moral compass. And when you look to the front of the book, Harris said in that debate, we're not looking back, we're turning the page. And a lot of American people were saying, what are you turning the page to? Where are you going with this? OK, we're not going back and all of that stuff. Where are you going with this, Harris? OK, but you turn the page, it says the end. Now it goes back to the front. And now it's Adam and Eve. OK, and the worst mistake that he hearkened unto his wife, which is Eve, and not to God. And that's the science of Willie Lynch. They invest into the woman. They pretty much destroy the man and the protection of the community. And then somehow they could continue to run this operation for it is what it is. So now what? I'm glad you spoke on that. So now it is time for us to fix the problem. OK, to fix the problem. Now that we're in the front of the book, it's God, man, woman, and child. Now it's time to promote the black nuclear family. Now it's time to promote love. Now it's time to promote Now it's time to invest in communities of color, to turn these neighborhoods into communities, because you cannot be a community if you don't recycle your dollars. It's time to educate the children. It's time to protect the children. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. And no one's blaming Eve by no stretch of the imagination. We just understand the mistake that Eve made. And now that she has to sacrifice herself and go over there with the devil, because she is the plug between the devil and man. So now, Eve, go over there, and we're going to be over here with God, because God said the only thing we did wrong, we listened to Eve and not God. So now that we've repented of our sins, now that we're born again and we're living a new life with God. So now if Eve wants to be associated with the man, then she's going to deny, rebuke the devil and become born again as well. But if she wants to stay over there, then she's going to be the sacrifice. Okay, because we'll find another woman. Okay, we don't have to be with you. Okay, because clearly, you are not a person that can actually be in control, that can have power. Okay, you are the one that could be manipulated by the devil. And this is what we got going on. And it talked about Willie Lynch yesterday, and what Willie Lynch says, focus on the female. If you focus on that female, and you strip her from her man and strip her from her right way of thinking, then she will raise her children in reverse. She will raise her son to be a female just like her. Take her out of that natural state. So now this is not a blame game. This is a conversation of what I would say, accountability. Okay, because if you make a mistake in the past, if you made a mistake, just fix it. Okay. And the same rules applies to the man that applies to the female. So if Adam's mistake was to, he partook and we offered him, and now he understands that and he fixed it, then Eve have to understand she partook and took what the deceiver gave to her. So now she has to fix that. But if she's not willing to fix it, then she'll be things like, hey, stop focusing on race, stop doing this, stop blaming people. Nobody's blaming people. We're basically telling the truth. We're telling the truth. Stop blaming not blacks and women. Listen, we're telling the truth. Make us free. So for you to fix a problem, you have to identify the problem. And then you have to put a corrective action in place so you won't make the same mistake, because most people want people to do what they would call insanity, continue to do the same thing over and continue to get a different outcome. But this is the truth. This is what happened in this election. We're not going to support the Democratic Party ever again, because the Democratic Party is the party of slavery. Party is the party of Jim Crow. The Democratic Party is the party of the Democratic Dixiecratic South. It is what it is. And I'm glad, because power, wisdom, and understanding is what it is, Mr. West. So we have conversations. So it's about understanding. And when you say, what about Trump? The Bible says it's not flesh and blood. It's powers, all these evildoers in high places. So Trump is just a man that supports, making America great again. He's just a man who loves this country, who have invested in this country and want to see this country through. That's what he is. But from a moral perspective, you think I have not grabbed any vajay? You think I haven't made any mistakes in my life? You think I haven't done anything wrong? So I'm not throwing any stones. I'm not judging. But at the end of the day, your God knows our intentions. And one thing that I do know about Donald J. Trump, that his intentions for this country is good. That's what I do know. And one thing I do know, the intentions for this country on the Democrats, all bad, is anti-American and is also anti-Christ. It is what it is. And I'm going to stop talking to this bot because the bot has pretty much have the conversation. The Bible is full of mistakes. Absolutely. And it's in redemption. And at the end of the day, when I talk about that Bible, I focus on the doctrine of Jesus Christ. Okay, Jesus Christ was the only one documented that did not sin. Okay, that documented that the only one that did not sin. This is why in this presidential election, I didn't vote for the scribe, which is the liberals. I didn't vote for the Pharisees, which is the hypocritical Republicans. I wrote my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And you could go to my timeline on all my social media platforms and right there, I still have the sign, the Jesus Christ Write-In Campaign. We wrote in our Lord and Savior because we knew without a shadow of a doubt, whoever won the presidential election, we was going to press the line and we was going to make African Americans black again. We're going to fight for the social and economic and the financial aspects of the communities of color. More importantly, the black community. It is what it is. So far left and far right are both from the reality, are far from reality. Absolutely right. And this is why you had somebody on the left, somebody on the right. We went right there in the middle and we wrote in Jesus Christ for president. It is what it is. Okay, you're not a bot. I appreciate you for saying, I appreciate you for being honest. Let me see here. He just don't believe. I believe all. Absolutely, because the word is the truth and the truth shall make us free. And the Bible is such a historical artifact is that these things happened thousands of years ago, but we can actually see where we are here today. This is why when I look at the book of Exodus, I can actually see where we are today because the mass exodus of the Democratic Party. Because if you did not know, 13.6 registered Democrats decided not to vote Democratic this time around. 10 million decided to go home, and 3.6 million registered Democrats voted down ballot. They either wrote in a presidential candidate or they voted for the Libertarian Peace and Freedom Party, Green Party, American Independent Party. They wrote in Cornel West or Melina Abdullah. They put JFK on the ballot. He got 800,000 votes. So it was what it was. So this is how we win. So the truth shall make us free, and lies can only be, put out in front for an extended period of time. So if you just go after the lie with the truth, all they're going to do is continue to repeat themselves. And then they got to go, just like Kay just got up because she realized and understand that this is not no fight. This is not no debate. This is a situation where, we're moving on. And now she has to she got to understand that, it's time to do what's right. And it's time to fix these problems. Okay, it's time to do that. It is what it is. Let me see here. It is what it is. God is the truth. 11 years, God spoke to me. Now, Oscar Silva, in the Bible, is MAGA time. Forget about the Bible values. We got Trump now. You're absolutely right. But see, when I say talk about the Bible, and I'm speaking to Oscar Silva, I look at David. Okay, you heard of the story about David and Goliath? Believe it or not, I associate, Trump being David and Goliath being the Democratic Party. And Goliath was a giant. Okay. And he was he was slaying and killing, and nobody could go head up with Goliath, but somehow, some way they got the power of God on his side and just pulled up on him. And Goliath looked at David and basically said, this little guy, we could destroy him. So he took the helmet off, started laughing at him. And the next thing you know, David had a slingshot, Goliath in the head with it, dropped him. And somehow, some way he went over laid and cut that man's head off. So basically, Trump is David. He defeated the Democratic Goliath. And what we're doing when I say the us movement, meaning the black community, is partnering up with the MAGA group, not as a, if you can't beat them, join them, but just to be an asset, okay, in terms of investments, in terms of resources, in terms of fixing our communities. Because we learn if we join the Democratic Party, if we join the party, then we're going to lose ourselves in the party because nobody's bigger than the program. So just like when we joined the Democratic Party, what happened to the black race? They washed us out, made us an ethnicity. And now, African American is associated with the LGBTQ, Planned Parenthood, Women's Live movement. No. Okay. We're a black group of people. We're a sovereign group of people. We're a sovereign race, and we're going to work with the Trump administration, make sure we do what's right for our people and by our people. It is what it is. So yes, Trump pretty much in the Bible is little David, man, and David destroyed Goliath. And I believe that, well, not I believe, but metaphorically, I can vision, the Democratic, them tying Goliath and giving the sword to the black man and allowing us on Inauguration Day to literally chop the head off the Democratic beast, and it will never exist again. And the only way it exists is associate themselves with the black race. That's the only way it can actually exist, if they associate themselves with the black race. Because without the black race, it wouldn't even be no Democratic Party. Okay, so this is why they try to do everything that they can to keep us. This is why they doubled down on the women. They turned our boys into homosexuals and raised our daughters masculine, took the black man out the household and all of that. And then they got a problem when the black man marry a white. Stop it. Okay. So now that, if the party's over, now we promote the black nuclear family. We can get our communities together. We can work on our educational system. We can build our communities. We can stop the crime. We can end poverty. We can fight for the liberties and the equities of all God's children. It is what it is. And I was responding to Oscar Silva. So now let me see here. Alexander, I'm a Russian American first generation who came here legally. Now the government and the corrupt alphabet agencies need to be abolished immediately. Absolutely. And You are looking at what we call the great separation, because somehow, some way, they associated themselves with my people. And I've had conversations with homosexuals and lesbians and queers, the members of the LGBTQ community, and they basically look at me and say, well, you got to understand, because you're black, and we like no, 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 no. We have nothing to do with that. So this is why they are putting together a cease and desist letter to the ACLU and to the Rainbow Coalition. Take black and never use black again. Okay, because there's no black or brown or no rainbow. Stop it. Okay, this is them trying to associate us with something because they cannot stand alone. They cannot stand alone. So this is why, Trump won, and this is what we call the great separation. So now we can pretty much let them do what they do. Okay, because on inauguration day, there's not going to be no association with trans at all, because Project 2025, along with Trump, what he said out of his mouth, day one, he's going to sign an executive action to assuring that we only recognize male and female here in this country. Period. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let me see here. Now, George West, only by Christ Trump is good servant. Now, only by absolutely, because when he dodged that bullet, I'm sure if he wasn't saved or born again when he was down there, I'm sure he said something. Lord, if you get me up out of this, I'll promise to do. So this is why things are going to change so fast. You have so many, Democrats who are crying and crashing out, and they're crashing out because, they're what they wanted or that they were expecting will not and will never exist. We're not going to ever, they say never say never. We're never going to have a female president. I'm sorry. They're too emotional and they're bleeders. Okay. No disrespect. They're bleeders. Okay. So at the end of the day, now it's time for us to have sound leadership. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, if we could do this thing correctly, the woman could get back in her rightful place, because I know it's so many uncovered women right now that got to go to work, got to pay these bills and raise these children by themselves, are not happy because it takes two. Okay. Two is better than one. It is what it is. So God is amazing. He much made sure that we dodged this bullet. And I thank God for being, I would say faithful, because I started doing this back 16. So it was delayed, but not denied. So now, we're in a position where we can actually work with any administration as a sovereign group of people, because the black race can no longer be associated with slavery. It can no longer be associated with the party that has no moral. And when I say the party that has no morals, in California, they voted yes on Proposition 3. And Proposition 3 is to end all rules for marriage. Sex marriage was actually passed. Okay, which means open the doors for incest and making moms and dads optional. So why would we want to be associated with these people, with those pronouns? Think about it. They had Proposition 6 on the ballot. Proposition 6 was to end slavery in the state of California. They voted no. And then they voted yes on Prop 36, which basically brings back 3 strikes, which is mass incarceration, which was signed into law by Bill Clinton, promoted in the Senate by Joe Biden, and the bill was written by Joe Biden. And all over the country, Hillary Clinton sold the bill, said we're not, that people that look like me are not, these are not humans. These are super predators that need to be brought to heel. I mean, it is what it is. And that's crazy. That's crazy. So it is what it is. Now, let me see here. After my trip to Senegal and Gambia, I have a completely different view on what Black America exactly. Okay. This is why we got to make African-American black again, because an ethnicity is nothing is nothing different than an immigrant. It's nothing different than a homosexual. It's nothing different than a lesbian. It's nothing different than a queer. It's nothing different than a feminist. It's nothing than, whatever they want to call it. But we need to do what we need to do. And it is what it is. We got to do what we got to do. So let me see here. Sup, Uncle Tom. Okay, listen, Uncle Tom's Cabin. That you got to read that book. Okay, because Uncle Tom wasn't as bad as I thought it was. He played by the rules. He was respected. Okay, so but I'm far from an Uncle Tom, man. I'm born and raised in the hood. I love my community. I'm just pretty much making an educated decision to separate ourselves from what's good. And I'm just keeping it 100. I'm speaking to Ryan Marquez because at the end of the day, we got 60 years of data. In 1964, the Cites Acts were signed by Lyndon B. Johnson. And from 1964 to 2024, the black race has been decimated. The black nuclear family has been all black communities of color are crime, hell-bent, gang banging, murderous, the whole nine. And the only reason that this happened is because we have decided to associate ourselves with the Democratic Party. So what we're doing now is separating ourselves from the government organizations and declaring our independency and declaring sovereignty. And we're going to fight for the rights of our race. And we got 4 years to do it. In 1865, Abraham Lincoln put away $8 million and created the Freedmen's Bank Bureau. You know, if we can get Donald Trump to basically sign the constitutional amendment and take slavery clause off of the 13th Amendment because it reads neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, comma, unless criminalized. If we could get Trump to do that, do you know that that will open up trillions of dollars that have been put away and has been gaining equity for almost 200 years? Think about that. So think about that. So ain't nothing Uncle Tom about that. That's the right move, the right choice, because this is what freedom looks like. Okay? This is what freedom looked like. OK, we're a sovereign group of people fighting for the rights of our people. And never in our history have we ever had an opportunity to do so. Never in our history. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you. OK, never in our history. Somebody just read in there and I appreciate you. Never in our history have we ever had an opportunity to do anything. Never in our history. This is the first in American history. You don't have no bootlegging trustee, no elected official out just playing these games. You have black men, black women who love God, love their community, fighting for the rights of their people. And we're literally what we call the last of the Mohegans, because it was delayed but not denied. This is opportunity to do what we need to do. This is our opportunity to do what we need to do. And we're going to do it. And we got 4 years to make it happen. And after those 4 years, I guarantee you, there will not be a Democratic elected official. OK, you're going to have nonpartisan independents, going for senators, going for Congress, the whole nine. And who's going to run the Democratic Party? When you drop the bag and you lose the black race, it is what it is. It is what we see here. You are on the right track and you need to go back to Africa at least for a month, as I did, where the roots and the African descents came from. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm associated with a group that's pretty much going back in June. OK, and it's a little peace movement. It's an investment thing. So but you are 100% right about that. OK, because at the end of the day, our clock started in Jamestown, Virginia, the year 1619. And this is why, God has showed up and showed out and has stepped into it and to pretty much allow us to see the truth, because the NAACP can't speak for us because they sold out. Our Greek systems, our Divine Nine, they sold us up the river. The Congressional Black Caucus is up the river. So now we have to embrace this Constitution and run our organizations as a grassroots movement for the people, by the people. And don't be afraid of the word black, because if we can make African-American black again, that means black is an acronym for Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, kinsman. And that's real. And that's real. Now, people need to be punished for theft. Absolutely. People need to be punished for theft. Absolutely. So therefore, we need to change the environment, then up the stakes when it comes to theft, because we should have zero tolerance when it comes to, theft. We should. But somehow the African Americans, the so-called African Americans, and the liberal Democrats somehow want to go loose on crimes to create an environment to where it's OK for people to go out, steal. It's OK for people to go out and do what they do. But then now here in the state of California, we got a new attorney general. Gascon is out. We got Holcomb. And then in the state of California, we voted yes on Proposition 36, which is to pretty much threshing you out. So now we got to have individuals that's not Republican or Democrat fighting on the same side of one another to make sure that, we fight for the rights of people. Okay. Because we know without a shadow of a doubt that people who steal, unless you're a kleptomaniac, people who steal, they do it out of need and necessity. You don't know what a hungry individual would be willing to do. He'll take a penitentiary chance to eat. He'll take a penitentiary chance to just pretty much get what he needs. But at the end of the day, a nation as great as America, in which the Biden administration has, earmarked tens of dollars of aids, billions of dollars to war-torn countries, pretty much burn our money. We need to fight for the finances here in America to be appropriated correctly, because there's no way that they should be downtown looking for migrants and not helping the people that's been here on Skid Row today. So this is why we, a sovereign group of people outside of the Republican and Democratic Party, because, these are sworn enemies. These are sworn enemies. We got to represent love. And this is why this 4 years, we're going to champion ourselves, and the black race put themselves on a position that they should have been in to thrive. OK, because how can we have our own communities? How can we have our own community, if we're not recycling our dollars? OK, it is what it is. It is now. And let me see here. We got Nick Hill. And we tired of everything being locked up at the store. And let me see here. And it's why they passed Prop 36 and almost. You're absolutely right. I'm tired of, going to Target. You got to ring the buzzer for toothpaste. Got to ring the buzzer for underwear. And, you're 100% right. So what we going to do now, Proposition 36, they're bringing it back. We shouldn't even have allowed it to get this far. OK, you just remember the George Floyd riots and, the riots in 92. That conditions the mind to go, but look what happened, when they was defund the police and, they passed Prop 47, meaning that the law enforcement couldn't arrest an individual if they stole less than $1,000 of goods and services. The security in the stores were told to stand down and just let people walk out. So this is why, dealing in a two-tier government, this is why dealing in, Republicans and Democrats have to be a thing of the past. And this is why the black race is abandoning the operation and is taking the lead in the culture and the lead in the community to make sure that we render ourselves away from what's been hurting us all this time. So this is why we are worthy as a people. And this is why January 20th can't come here any faster. This is why January 20th can't come here any faster, because on January 20th, the Democratic Party will be dismantled. It's beyond repairable. You lost the black man. The black man is speaking up for his sovereignty. The black man will be fighting for its community. The black man will be fighting, against any entity that's for the genocide of his people. And we partnering up, with the Trump administration or whatever political party that's in office. So when you talk about MAGA, it's called the MAGA plus, because the Trump administration has made some promises that will be something specifically for black people, and by default, other people in our social class. Because when Trump said on the campaign trail as a campaign promise, no tax on tips, that helps the waitresses as well as the dancers. And without a shadow of a doubt, we got a lot of black pole dancers, and they will benefit from that if there's no tax on tips. So we're going to make sure this bill passes or gets signed into law as an executive action. He also said as a campaign promise, in which we're going to hold him accountable as a black coalition. He said no tax on overtime. That's going to help every wage earner that has a payroll job. No tax on overtime. That's going to help the working class and help the middle class. That's very beneficial. And he also said as a campaign promise, no tax on Social Security. So Social Security benefits are pretty much twice a month. And they literally, just to do the math, round it up, round it down or whatever, it's pretty much 20% each check. So on a bi-weekly, on a two payout monthly. So that means that the baby boomer, the individual that's pretty much is security under this rule or under this law that we're going to make sure that goes into fruition, it's going to basically give you 40% extra resources on your bottom line on your SSI insurance. So work with us, pray for us that we make sure we hold the sitting president accountable. And I actually got to give George West a good shout out. George West just pretty much the first time I've ever the dollar. Okay. It's the first time I've ever received a dollar. It is what it is. This is the first time I've gotten some money in the super chat, and I appreciate George West for doing that. And whatever I need to do, I know you hit the notification subscription. I'm going to keep on pressing, but that's motivation. Because at the end of the day, you know, God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. And like I said, the game is to be told, not so. So it is what it is. And I appreciate you once again, Mr. George West. Okay, for my first super chat dollars. And I got all this equipment. I got to set it up, and I'm gonna get it all up over the holidays. My little sound deck and all that. I did a little clap for you and appreciate you and all that. I appreciate you. Now let me see here. I'm in these comments. Now, Hawaii for Trump. I never forgot the men and women who fought for the freedom, and I am about to give it back. That's what it is. Our ancestors, black, white, indifferent, you know, they fought to preserve this great nation. So it's on us to preserve it. And Benjamin, let me see here. And let me see. Benjamin Franklin was the one that said when when they pretty much put the Constitution together, or the Bill of Rights, and it says America is a constitutional republic. And he said, if we can keep it. OK, we've been fumbling it. You know, but now we got to keep it. So now it's on the American people to make America what she is. And this is why MAGA, okay, is a good thing for America. Make America great again. And when asked me, when was America great again? When was America ever great? And I say America was great when African Americans was black. America was great, you know, in the Civil War when the Union, along with the newly free slaves, did the Democratic South. America was great in the Revolutionary War. America was great World War I, World War II. Now we can make it the greatest, and we can all benefit from it. Like I said, I got a little Bitcoin. I got some investments in Bitcoin over $103,000 right now. So you talking about some rich people have been created, some millionaires have been created, and he hasn't even been inaugurated yet. Just the thought of him becoming president is pretty much changing the world. It is what it is. Now, here, you're one of the 20% of the disenfranchised black men, Trump voters. Absolutely not. And that's ground zero, Mike. Ground zero. That's not true, bro. I didn't vote for Trump. I wrote in, I didn't vote for Harris, and I abandoned the Democratic Party. I wrote in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, as president. That's what I did. So I'm pretty much what you would call, I would say, the top 10%, okay, because the top 10% is going to change the face of America, because what we did, you know, we sacrificed the Democratic Party for the greater good of God's people. So in a sense of not supporting Trump, okay, but respecting the Oval Office, respecting who's in power and fighting for my community, okay, just like the shirt I got on. Okay, established 1619 privileged people. As black get. My brand is black. You're looking at a better Black America TV. So how are we going to become a better race, creed, or culture if we're associated with the party of slavery, which is the Democratic Party? So when you talk about this, it's not disenfranchised. Okay, and then I'm gonna give you some gang ground zero. Okay, you say 20% disenfranchised voted for Trump. Okay, now think about the 10 million red Democrats that did not show up at the polls at all. And where am I getting my numbers from? 10 million less Democrats voted in 2024 than in 2020. So there was a 10 million votership drop in the Democratic Party in 2024 opposed to 2020. Here's another fun fact. 0.6, and I'm talking to Ground Zero Mike, 0.6 million registered Democrats voted down ballot. And this is what I did, what I promoted. I had these all over the cities and communities and hoods and Inglewood, all on Crenshaw, Manchester, here in the LA area. And we wrote in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And we're all registered Democrats, meaning we moved and got out of the burning house that Dr. King spoke on. We delivered ourselves, okay, from the slavery, from the party of Jim Crow, from the party of mass incarceration, from the party of welfare and poverty and homosexuals. We did ourselves, Ground Zero Mike. So when you talk about disenfranchised, so go ahead and say, I'm a part of the 40% that turned their backs on the Democratic Party. And we're so geeked about it because our money's up, crypto's up, and there's hope now. And now we can have a conversation as men and as gentlemen with the Republican Party as an asset instead of a liability. Think about that. As a independent. So now when they say, we got a meeting with the blacks, talking about sound black leadership in the United States. Okay. Because African American is an ethnicity that's embedded in the Democratic Party, and with homosexuals, lesbians, queers, trans, cisgender, and all these other things that's immoral and far away from God. We don't want to be guilty by association, because the Bible says, I punish the oppressors and my people shall come out with great wealth. So how can we come out with great wealth being associated with the party of slavery, with the party of Jim Crow, with the party of mass incarceration, with the party of the LBGTQ, AI, cisgender, and all of that? The party that's godless. Think about it. This is what freedom looks like. This is what freedoms look like. This is what freedom looks like. Okay, let me see. George West is a G. Yes, he is. Good looking, George West. A friend of mine. That's a friend of mine. So listen, let me see here. Okay, Ground Zero. And what about the embroidered KKK? So what? KKK ain't got nothing to do with me, bro. Okay, I'm from South Los Angeles, man. We just had a little boy in Compton get murdered by his own biological father. We just had a female on Century and, get shot up in her little Mercedes Benz in the alley. Okay. Had another homicide the other day. There's no KKK in the black community. And there's no KKK around here. Worried about our own. So these grand distractions, what about the KKK? And if you really want to understand, the KKK was created by the Democratic Party into the Civil War. Okay. And the KKK tormented black people in the South. Those was not Republican. Those are Democrats. Those are Democrats. The Confederate Dixiecratic South. When they talk about poll tax and poll intimidation, those were Democrats stopping blacks doing what they wanted to do. And that's to rise above, vote for the best position for their families. And at that time was Republican. And this time we're going to benefit from the Republican. Okay. So about the KKK, listen, the KKK, like I said, that's white supremacy. Okay. As a black man, let's practice black supremacy, because if we stand in solidarity as a black, without shadow of doubt, listen, we don't get no smoke from no KKK. The only reason you get smoke from the KKK is because you to be a part of what they got going on. You trying to sleep with their women and turn their boys into girls and all that stuff. And they're fighting for their rights. They get a chance to fight for their rights. See, we're not a fan of inclusion. We're not a fan of affirmative actions and DEI and all of that, because they know to pick. OK, we want to be respected as a sovereign group of people, because we know we make the world turn. Because when I turn on the NBA, I see a whole bunch of black people. When I turn on a Major League Baseball, a whole bunch of people of color. When I turn on the NFL, I see a whole bunch of people of color, whole bunch of black people. OK, and we know without a doubt who the master race is and all of that. So it's not a fear thing. OK, because if you stand on your blackness and you stand on your morals, that means you're standing on God's principles. So that means anything that they got is to pretty much protect what they protected. So this is why I could not respect what my brother's doing, showing these college kids walking around with a Nazi flag in Columbus, but then they won't even post a murder or homicide that happened on their block. That's crazy. That's crazy. So this has for us by us. That's what FUBU stands for. We got to focus on the tribe now. It's time to focus on the tribe, because never in our history have we ever had an opportunity to fight for the rights of outside of some white man or some white woman being in our business, or some black coon nigga sellout selling out the whole so they could have a position of power. So this is why now we're independent. We're not a political party. OK, we're fighting for the rights of God's people, and that's all people, because the Constitution says we the people. So now that the party has expired and its a funeral would be January 20th of 2024. So now we get an opportunity to live in this element and see how this thing works. OK, go back into history. Go back to the civil rights movement. Let's talk about what Dr. King was saying. We're going to go to Washington and get our check. What check was he talking about? He was talking about that promissory note that America promised back in 1865. People talk about, 40 acres and a mule. That actually happened. OK, but we're talking about the Freedmen's Bank Bureau that was created by Abraham Lincoln, who abolished slavery through the Emancipation Proclamation and put away $8 million back in 1865. Where that bread at with that interest? Oh, we can't pay the slaves. OK, so this is why we'll lobby the Trump administration to sign the constitutional amendment to take slavery off the constitutional level, which will motivate the states to do so. Let's really get down. Let's get down. It is what it is. It is what it is. And then in terms of the KKK and the KKK and the Nazis have no power. None at all. Those college kids have a right to walk up and down the street, and with a Nazi flag, they didn't bother nobody. They didn't kill nobody. They didn't do anything. Those was a bunch of just college kids. And remember, what happened to Antifa? What happened to all these organizations that attached themselves with Black Lives Matters and, we'll march in and peace rally. Then at night, they'll just destroy the community. Those were white folks hanging out with black folks, destroying our community so they could preserve theirs. Think about it. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? You want to walk around, you want to walk the KKK. I walk the hood in the block every day. Ain't no KKK around here. And all they doing is expressing their constitutional right of expression. They could do what they want to do. OK, I walk around with 16, 19 privileged people. To the KKK, they don't say nothing to me. I got a red hat on, say, make African American black again. I'm pro like they're pro white. Nothing wrong with that, because respect is respect. And if we can get on a position of power, we can cut deals, groups and organizations, so we can bring equity to our communities so we can stand strong. But somehow, some way, we lost our way. We went from being black and proud and then some ethnicity because Jesse Jackson said, told us to, because he said, I am somebody. No, we're more than somebody. We're more than conquerors. You're at a miracle right now. For us to be relevant in today's time, over 400 years after the first documentation of our people in this country. Come on, man. Stand up and show out. OK, and for the number one, we got to disassociate ourselves with the oppressor. It is what it is. And let me see. Ground Zero Mike is on one today. You want the USA to be Christian. Nazi. Let me see here. Nationalism. Well, I want this country, no pun intended. I want to make America great again. And for America to be great again, make African American black again. That's when America was great. OK, I'm not falling for the talking points and, letting white liberal females or these white liberal males or these white liberal homosexuals try to trap you into thinking crazy because on Ground Zero Mike to continue to support their operation and disregard his own people. But Mike, it is what it is. So all that energy you got, I have zero tolerance to Nazis too. All that energy, I need you to flip that and put that energy into your people. Put that energy into empowerment. Put that energy into motivating the youngsters. Put that energy to talk good, to our sisters. Put that energy into what we got going on, because this is our moment in history. Okay, it's the pain of change is real. Okay, we got to unlearn what they taught us, because the lies and deceit had us hoodwinked and bamboozled. Now that we know the truth, this is our come up. This is our historical moment. It's going to go down in 2024, the great separation, the New Deal. Okay, and this is why I put in the caption the MAGA plus movement, because MAGA plus the black community want to change the face of this world. Because when I look at that Constitution, and that Constitution says, domestic tranquility, this is when I sit back and say, wow, we're supposed to be on earth as it is in heaven, because our Constitution says domestic tranquility. So when they talk about tariffs and all of that, what's wrong with, taxing other countries and empowering our own country? Why should we continue to get other countries to be rich? Why should we continue to support a political party that put billions and billions of dollars of domestic aid outside of the country to foreign aid, when you have people here in this country starving? Sometimes we got to fix that. We got to fix that. It is what it is. Let me see. Loose on crime. That's why there are so many criminals being locked up today. So we got to get tough on crime. I believe in the broken windows theory. Okay, because you deal with the small crimes, then they don't even expand. Because I remember as a kid, my first court case, I had to miss school and go downtown LA as a third grader, because I jaywalked. My mother had to take off work and all of that. So, it is what it is, but we got to be able to fix this. We got to be able to fix this. Okay, we got to be able to fix this. Let me see here. Sorry, multi-billionaires. Okay, the multi-billionaires, listen, billionaires create jobs. Okay. And if it's just the flip side, because when they say tax the ultra rich, okay, when you tax the rich, they lay off working class people. If you give them tax breaks, loopholes, and incentives, they hire people. It's just common sense. But when you're dealing with, Republicans or Democrats and all of that, the Democrats got a funny and a strange way to somehow keep people, God's people, deceived. And this is why I say that the Democratic Party is pretty much ran by the adversary, which is the devil. And this is why he attaches himself to the woman, because she's a major influencer and major power broker, not only in the world, but more importantly in the community. It is what it is. It is what it is. Like I said, now the lost cause comes from the Democratic Party, who pretty much expanded themselves and recreated and rebranded themselves. And this is what we're seeing the end of right now. Okay. Now I was lost, but now I'm found. Okay. I was hoodwinked. I was bamboozled. I was led astray. I was running amok. So now it's time to do right by God's people. It is what it is. And when you have individuals that come over here and they get this knowledge and this truth, they're going to go home and reflect on it. And they're going to come on and they're going to go, because they come in strong, trying to debate in the conversation, but then they get this knowledge and this understanding. And then, because things are being said that resonates with their spirit. Things are resonating, by saying, it's resonating with their spirit. It is what it is. It is what it is. So now Trump is a magician. No, he's not a magician at all. And who said that? Detroit Coalition. What up, Detroit? Not at all. Not at all. Okay, not at all. All I'm saying is Trump, we could work better with Trump than we could work with the Democratic Party, because we've been working with the Democratic Party for over 60 years. And what is it? It turned the black race into an ethnicity, put us in a pot with the LBGTQ, elemental AI, cisgender society, destroyed our infrastructure. And now we understand what the issue is. And now that the party died on November 5th of 2024, and the funeral will be January 20th of 2025. Now we can separate ourselves and not be Republicans or Democrats. We could be black again, make African-American black again, a race of people, and we'll be willing to cut a deal with the sitting president. And by default, Trump's in office. So he's not a magician, but he's the plug right now. Got to wait. He got the power. So we're going to pretty much get our resources to make it do what it do. It is what it is. So let me see here. Let me see here. Let me see here. Billy Hinton. And I think Billy made a mistake, okay, because my hat says make African American black again. So he said, basically, you look like a fool with that Trump hat on your head. Okay, I'm not wearing a MAGA hat. I'm wearing a MABA hat. Make African American black again. I don't look like no fool. Okay, this is a little meal ticket right now. You know how much I get for these hats? Okay, you talking about the bag right here, because make African American black again is a beautiful thing. Okay, because being African American, we're in the pot with the queers. We got to ride with the lesbians, the transgenders, the AI, cisgender, and everything. And this is not what we're doing. We want our own car. We want our own position to do what we need to do as a black delegation, black group of people that's been, pretty much pushed to the sidelines since 1964. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So you would never hold Trump accountable for his charges as a coalition. Listen, he's been found guilty these felonies. He's been charged. What crimes has he done against humanity? These are what you call paper trails. What crime has he done in humanity? What law has he put into place that pretty much destroyed our community? So I got to hold the Democratic Party accountable, because in 1964, they pretty much destroyed my people. The Republican Party been doing what they've been. And by default, they got to continue to fight the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party has to have an opposition, because the Democratic Party without an opposition, they can't stand alone, which makes it fake. Okay, which makes it fake. It is what it is. Let me see here. Reduce tax and conduction of trimming the budget and excessive department bulge. Okay, I'm good. I like that. Let me see here. Love you, brother. I pray the black family becomes the powerhouse that it used to be. And see, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm in these comments today, because a lot of times the trolls, they destroy the chat and all of that. Somehow, some way, we keep on pressing. And when they come over, I'm learning how to deal with them, full throttle, call them out by their names. And they got to just keep on pushing, because we got to make this thing happen all day, every day. Make America first. That's right. That's right. Let me see here. What are you talking about? Trump was talking about white people. Listen, he could talk about all he wants. We're talking about us. Make African American black again. That's us. A better Black America TV on YouTube. That's us. Established in 1619, privileged people. Us. All we're doing is talking about us. So if white man is the plug and he got the weight, it's time to get busy, because the Democratic Party, we was their plug. We was their fuel. They used us to pretty much be in existence. So now that the party is dead and we're sovereign and independent, and you have never seen this before in your lifetime, it's time for us to make a move. It's time for us to do what we got to do as a people. It's not flesh and blood. It's powers, principalities, evildoers in high places. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let me see here. Enough with the woke agenda. It's over. Cancel culture got canceled. And that's Chris Schultz. Cancel culture got canceled. It is what it is. Jesus Christ riders. That's what's up. That's what's up. Glory to Christ. That's what I'm saying. So it is what it is, man. And you guys lit these comments up today. Man. And I appreciate y'all. Hit that like, hit that notification. And I got $10 today, and I appreciate it. Okay. And I appreciate that. And we're going to keep on working hard. And, I'm going to document it. And I'm going to frame that $10, because today is the 5th. Okay, of December, and we're going to keep on, and we're going to make it, make it do what it do, because God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. It is what it is. Jesus Christ, black, white, yellow, purple, name, glory to Jesus. Amen. Come on, man. Y'all gonna make me cry today. Because y'all just don't know that it took 3 uploads to pretty much come online. And I was about to get discouraged, because, you got people that pretty much don't want us to come together, because they know the jig is up, the party is up, and they got until January 20th before they won't even have no power at all. So we're going to take the power. Okay, we're the party of the people. The Democratic Party is dead, beyond repairable. It is what it is. Let me see here. You are not African American. You are an American first, brother. Absolutely. And that's Donald Rizzo. Absolutely. Absolutely. I am a true American. Okay. My ancestors, and just like most blacks, okay, that did not migrate to the country, our ancestors came through that transatlantic slave trade. Our ancestors built this nation on free labor, and I am a black man. I'm a black American. And this is when I say make African American black again. I'm black American. My race is black and my nationality is American. It is. Okay. Let me see here. Their interests went out the window. Absolutely. It's a wrap. Okay, because when Harris says we're not going back, we're going to page, and she turned the page and says the end, and then goes back to the front of the book and it says God made man and he made female. Stop right there. It is what it is. So I got one more. Okay, the comments is popping in. I'm about to get up out of here, but let me see here. You can say something. I'm not black, but I am so good to our black and brothers, black bros and sisters waking up. It's great to see that it goes to every race, but I'm trying to love to black Americans. Absolutely appreciate that, because our growth as a race has been shut down by the Democratic Party. They think they own us. They tell us what to do. They tell us who to vote for. They tell us what to eat, all of that. So now it's over. Now you're going to get an opportunity to see what we can do as a people and what's going to happen. It's just going to calibrate, because my generation is X and they wanted to skip a generation and get to the Pepsi generation, the Gen Zs and all of that stuff. And now we're going back and we saw where the lost cause was at. The lost cause was our parents and our grandparents who decided to cut a deal with the devil, which is the Democratic Party, and pretty much sacrifice the entire race. And they tried to wash us out. But somehow, some way, we're here standing in solidarity. We stood down on Harris in the 2024 election. We supported, God. We supported a higher power. And now we get an opportunity to do what's right for the people, by the people, because the Constitution says we the people. So now that we're not a Democrats no more, we're not Republicans, we're nonpartisan independents, and our job is to fulfill the same thing that Christ said. He said, I didn't come to change the scribe. I didn't come to change the Pharisees. I came to fulfill. So it's our job, Christ, to fulfill God's will in today's time. And it is what it is. So with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have an amazing day. Hit that notification, hit that subscription. It is what it is. And like I said, and I'm full of love. With that being said, have a great day. Peace out to you, Charles. Y'all have a good. Appreciate y'all.